Love a man the way that I love you. And you all know I could go on all night, don't you? I love the Queen. I love the Queen. And her birthday just passed last week. So happy birthday in heaven, Queen Aretha Franklin, if you didn't know who that was. And if you don't know who that was, shame on you. You must have just gotten on the planet. It's Friday night live with Dr. Kim. Welcome back. Welcome back. And tonight we're talking about trust issues. Oh, Lord have mercy, help us with the trust issues. Trust issues, they're all around us, right? All day, every day, every group that I'm in, clients that I'm meeting and talking with, people on the elevator, people on the street, trust issues, trust issues, trust issues. So I said, hey, let's come on tonight and talk about it. So grab you your favorite beverage. I'm going light tonight, nice light apple Moscato. So join me toasting the end of the week. It is Friday. It's definitely 5 o'clock here in Chicago. Actually, it is 7 o'clock, right? Because that's what time we meet every week. And time to let our hair down and let it roll and talk tonight. So as you're coming in, please do me a favor, like this broadcast, share the link so somebody can join us live here tonight, as well as share the channel so they can check us out here every week. We don't want them to miss any of this good that we're talking about. None of it. Oh, I hit the keyboard.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No, I'm not talking to you, Siri or Alexa or whoever you cancel. Oh my goodness, getting too much help in here tonight. Whoever is there in the chat, announce yourself, say good evening, good evening. You're here tonight with Dr. Kim, the relationship renovator. You know what we do here. My job is to help you get the love you want and keep the love that you need. As an educator by trade, I use that in my business for life and relationship coaching. My joy is seeing people. Some people call it the Noah's Ark anointing, right? Because I like to see everybody in twos. But not just together and happy. We want functional relationships. As we talked about last week, we do not want to believe the hype. Hey, Angie, good evening. Hey, Phyllis, what's up, Queen? We do not want to believe the hype on social media that everybody is toxic and nobody wants a healthy relationship. That's not true. There are many men and women who are seeking to find their other. I won't say their other half, because I believe we should come to relationships whole. We don't want anybody to complete us, because if you have somebody completing you, that means you're broke down. So we want to be whole people, attracting whole people, so we can have a whole relationship. Doesn't that sound good? That sounds real good to me. So trust issues, we hear that a whole lot, and a lot of us have them. A lot of us have had them. And so when you hear me describe it tonight, you probably will see yourself somewhere in these descriptions, probably not at the deepest end of the spectrum, but definitely we've all been there. Let's face it. We've all been hurt, which is what I said in the invite. We've all been hurt bad, at least once, right? And if you haven't been hurt directly, watch this. What I'm hearing with the Generation the Generation Zers, right? And the millennials, because they've seen so much divorce and so much dysfunction. There's a large group of them that just don't believe marriage and long-term relationships are even possible. So most of them that's not even a goal for them to find a significant other, settle down, get married, because what have they seen? Even in the couples that they considered to be solid, people they looked up for, they ended up breaking up. So if all you have seen, or the majority of what you've seen, is relationships that go south, and typically they'll get wind of, why did the relationship break down? Somebody cheated. Somebody was lying. Somebody was stealing. Somebody was abusive. So their lived experience, even though it's not direct, has taught them that, hey, you just can't trust most people. At the end of the day, someone is going to disappoint you. And isn't that sad? So I wanted to spend a little time tonight, and I wish I had a guest with me to keep me on target. So I'm going to elect somebody. Hey, Auntie, good evening. Good evening. You know where I was earlier. Today is a national holiday. How did I miss saying that? Today is a national holiday. It's my dad's birthday. Mr. Handsomeness, it is his birthday. So I went down and spent a little time with him today and his bright smiling self. So that was sunshine on this very rainy tornado watch Friday we're having here in Chicago. So if you're in the Illinois area, we're getting it hard. We had lightning, thunder, winds, hail, all kinds of things today. Things floating around, blowing around, but it's calmed down now. So let's get into it. Make sure you like and share, invite somebody. Okay. And if you're on Facebook, please like and share the post again. So we have some good conversation in here. I don't want to talk to myself. I want you to talk to me. So why do so many people have trust issues? Because this is very common. And you hear some people even tease about it, right? Look, don't look at me. I got trust issues. Like it's a badge of honor. It's not something to be ashamed of, but it's also not something you want to be proud of either and go bragging. Like, I got trust issues, because for me, all that means is you're stuck and you're not willing to change. And I've seen that inside relationships, looking at other people's relationships, seen it in the church. People are like, well, God just made me like this. God knows my heart. This is just who I am. If God gave you enough fortitude for you to figure out that you have a problem, and guess what? You also have enough energy or enough knowledge to try to fix it. The first step in solving a problem is what? Observing that you have a problem, admitting you have a problem. You're either the herder or the hurtee. Come on, fellas. You cannot live in life and think that you're not on the seesaw. My suggestion is to be mindful what side of the pain you're on. And look, like you said, everybody plays the fool sometimes. I got a song for everything. So the main ingredient saying that everybody plays the fool sometime. And what's another one? You always hurt the one you love. Which, like you're saying, whether that's intentionally or intentional, we end up hurting someone, and definitely we experience hurt. Love is a risk. It's a risk to put your heart. I think I saw that put so eloquently on a meme the other day. It said, loving someone deeply is giving them or taking the risk for them to break your heart and trusting that they won't. Look at that. There's the word trust again. So it's a risk to love anyone because you're being vulnerable. We hear that word a lot, which doesn't mean being weak, but it does mean going soft and allowing space in your heart, in your mind, to become connected and attached to a person. And so because we're so open and so soft, Think about when you have physical injuries, right? The softer parts of our body take longer to heal when we're injured. And so thus is the heart. Okay. So there's a lot of reasons why people have trust issues, including, this is one of my favorite phrases, including but not limited to getting disappointed by people, right? So something as simple as that seems like every time I show up for people, nobody shows up for me. And we know that's a very general and blanket statement. I think there's very few people that can say nobody has ever shown up for them. But definitely, if you've seen a consistent pattern of not being able to depend on anyone, you may begin to think, I just can't trust people. The only person I can trust is myself. We see that going all the way back to childhood, really infancy. Babies learn to trust based on their caregiver's response to them. So we call that attachment theory or attachment styles. And so when a baby cries, the caregiver should be trying to interpret that cry. Are they hungry? Are they wet? Are they lonely? Are they scared? And so the longer a child cries without their needs being met, and you're going to hear that phrase a lot tonight, without their needs being met, they learn, I cannot trust those who are supposed to care for me because nobody responds, nobody hears me. And that's another phrase we hear a lot, right? I just don't feel seen. That starts in childhood. When you feel ignored, you feel abandoned, but most importantly, when your needs are not met. You must be willing, you got to be willing to be vulnerable, but it is a risk. It is a risk. So trust issues can develop really early and we don't see them manifested until maybe later on, but they start in our youngest, we might call them formative years. A big cause of trust issues is trauma. So if you ever have been violated or assaulted in any way, that is definitely a real and very treacherous lived experience that teaches you people will attack you, people will not respect your physical boundaries and hurt you. So if that happened to you as a child or as a young person, that taught you that physical intimacy, right, as well as emotional intimacy can be challenged because typically those who assault us are people that we know. As a victim of assault, it was someone I knew. It was someone I knew. And most people are assaulted or violated by people they are familiar with. If they're not family members, they are associates. So that's very traumatic to have somebody do something like that to you at whatever age it happens. Okay, so there's some people walking around who have experienced trauma. This is why I tell people, when you see some of these signs, and that's why I want to unpack it tonight. So when you see some of these signs, whether you see them in yourself or you see them in someone else, that's not for you to make the call whether or not it's legitimate or whether they're just putting on or they're just crazy. You really don't know the depth of their hurt. So don't play with people. When you see some of these signs creep up, don't play with that. Either you're going to jump in, be honest with them and try to support them in breaking this chain, or you need to walk and be definitive about that. Don't have people hanging on the chain. Who is this? Oh no! Did the motherfucking love doctor come up in here? Yes. It's about time, brother. It's good to see you in the chat. Absolutely. So if you see that, don't write people off and just, want to call them crazy. There's some real reasons why people are walking around here hurt. But you need to decide if you're going to play the game, if you're going to jump in with them and do the work. If they're willing to do the work, or you like, hey, this is above my pay grade. I'm not going to be able to invest my time in this, my energy, my emotions, then walk. So much. And Daniel, you had this on your page. You've had a whole lot of really toxic relationships gone bad posts recently, right? Where people just jap out and kill people. People are out here killing people. You had the girl on your page, dismembered her boyfriend. She was hurt, she was mad. She'd been walking around for a long time. And I think she kind of tricked him into going somewhere with it, killed him, cut him up. So these are real. When you see this toxicity come out, folks who tell you they have trust issues or they're exhibiting any of the things I'm about to describe, take it serious. Don't string people along. Be clear. I'm in or I'm out. Because if you play with somebody's feelings, you are bound to get hurt. And yours may be fatal. It's just that serious. It's just that serious. Hold on, let me peek at the chat here before I go back to these reasons for trust issues. Yeah. You got to take some time. I'm glad you did instead of taking it out on somebody else. I was watching this podcast the other day, and this man was saying that he had been hurt and he realized the source of his hurt. He said, but his healing of choice was to be healed between the legs of as many women as possible. Is that insane? He intentionally knew that. He said he needed the comfort of a woman. That's how he was going to heal. And so he used women and their body parts, their vaginas in particular, to heal himself. Hurt people, right? Hey, cousin Jackie, we got Florida in here. We got Pennsylvania in here. What other states we have in here? You know, I love going coast to coast. Are you all sharing this link? So we can get everybody in here. This is going to be good. We're just getting started. Hey, Sherry Berry, we're just getting started. Good evening. Good evening. Please like and share. Please like and share. No, relationships are nothing to play with. And there's a lot of people out here willing to play games and are playing with it, paying with their life. You don't ever know when somebody has reached their limit. That's not something you can tell. And you also don't know that when they've reached that limit, how they're going to act out, resolving that. I see you, Florida. Come on here, girl. Good to see you, cuz. Absolutely. Nothing to play with. So trauma is a big cause. I didn't share the statistics. Look at this. More than two-thirds of the nation's children, I'm only talking about the United States, 2/3 of the nation's children have experienced some form of trauma in their lives, according to, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration. Across the globe, 1 in 8 adults have reported childhood sexual abuse. 1 in 4, which means if you think about 4 people that you know, at least one of them has experienced some kind of physical abuse. And that's sad. 1 in 8 sexual abuse. So again, think about 8 people that you know. 1 of them has been violated as a child. And then 1 in 4 have experienced some kind of physical abuse. So the likelihood of you meeting someone who has trust issues based on trauma is very likely. It's very likely. So pretty much almost everybody. Ooh, we lost power for a second. We back. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, we lost you all for a minute. So when I'm working with these 3 and 4-year-olds, and you can see it already, the ones who are desperate to be loved because they're being ignored, their parents are not available either physically or emotionally, and they are starving for attention. So you're going to see some of those behaviors manifest in what I'm about to describe here. So unloving childhoods, I already talked about the insecure attachment styles from kids who have learned not to trust the adults in their life. What's up, Dr. A? Good evening. Rejection in childhood. You see that a lot. Children who maybe just don't quite fit in, or maybe the parents weren't ready to have them. That, including foster children, children with disabilities, the list goes on. Moving on up the food chain into adults, we know past relationships experiences, Lord have mercy. That is probably the most common one. You will meet people, and I experienced this. This is probably the most frustrating of all of them, when you know that someone can't love you because of what somebody else did. So you abuse the next because of your ex. That's probably the most worrisome, right? So people who have been cheated on, and they just know, if I give my heart to you, you're probably going to cheat on me too. Probably going to hurt me too. Or here's the one that's most prevalent now, are people being ghosted. So if you've ever been ghosted, raise your hand. If you've been ghosted more than once, raise your hand. I'm going to raise both hands because it's been more than once for me. That's a tough one. When somebody just disappears, doesn't say anything, especially if you didn't know something was wrong. It's still difficult, even if you know, okay, wow, we had a big blow up and they just don't know how to fight fair or don't know how to bring closure, and then they just bounce. That's hard enough. But I've seen people, and I think I told you all this before, I've run into many groups, I know I'm in 2, about ghosting and ghosting recovery, and the stories that I've heard in there, oh my God, where people were a couple of days away from getting married, person just gone. You're like, wait a minute, we got honeymoon plans, we got family coming in from out of town, and you just disappear. So the first inclination is to think something must have happened to them. So can't do a missing persons report for 24 hours. You're trying to contact everybody you know. Left at the altar, just gone. So if you've been cheated on, you've been ghosted, pretty good chance it's going to take a while before you trust somebody again. It's going to take a while. And this is men and women. I don't want every week when I show up here, there's very few topics that I'm going to talk about that don't hit men and women. Okay, so for people who think, oh, because I have Love and Life According to Dr. Kim, my Facebook group, which is women only, that's a place for women to talk about their stuff. But when I come here, I'm addressing everybody, because I know men who deal with this as well as women. And then what you'll often see, I hope the motherfucking love doctors, he's still here. I know you see this a lot, where you'll see hurt people drawn to each other, right? Like, I've been cheated on too. Isn't that terrible? I would never cheat on you. I would never cheat on you either. And you're like, wow, this is like the perfect match. Here's somebody who understands my journey. They understand what I've been through. And here they are together. And that is nothing but a trauma bond and the perfect storm. And here's why. Because everything can work if you work it. Okay, so I'm saying 2 things here. Stay with me. If it's a trauma bond and it stays that way, meaning neither party or both ideally work on what has traumatized them, they're going to turn in on each other. I promise you, the very first hint of a mistake, the very smidge of somebody dropping the ball, and they spiral all the way back to what they've experienced. See, I knew it. I knew you were just like ... whoever this person or people were that hurt them. Just like that. So if you found yourself or find yourself in the future with someone who has a shared life experience, I wouldn't say run, but see, are they willing to do the work? Do you know that you're hurt? Do you know that there's help available? We don't have to sit here and be wounded together. Who is this? Oh no, we're not having no company tonight. No, we're not doing company tonight. So I don't know who this is trying to get into my Zoom. But no, thank you. No, thank you. No guests tonight. Okay. So that pain is deeper too, because you're like, man, after all I've been through, I opened my heart to this person. They should know how I feel. How dare you do this to me when you know what this feels like? And I'm telling you, I've seen some people go rogue after that. They're like, I'm never giving my heart again. I'm out for me. Because guess what? I got trust issues. And nobody loves me the way I love them. Bad place to be. Bad place to be. So here's the signs. You got your notebook out. Cousin Jackie usually takes notes for us. You taking notes tonight, Jackie? Okay. So we got a couple of different groups here. Reasons or what trust issues look like. Okay. Now I want to differentiate something first, because there's basic distrust, which all of us were born with. And it's actually a defense mechanism to protect us. You should have a certain level of distrust, which will make you try out a situation to make sure it's safe to advance to what could be. Like when you see babies touch something, I'm not sure, should I touch that? Should I pick that up? It's dark over there. Should I go in there? Those are all things to protect us. We should question or be wary of new people. But it's when it's out of hand or it becomes paranoia, meaning that we're fearing things that there's no basis for. Okay, for example, somebody opening up a bottle. Okay, it's okay, cuz I was just teasing, because I know you usually like to write stuff down. We are good. Thank you for listening at work. Okay, I'll be quiet. So mistrust, like if you open up a folder, you're like, oh my God, I think something might be in the folder. Now we know the person may be delusional, because that's not reasonable to be afraid that something is going to jump out of a folder. But that's very much so normal to be afraid to meet new people, to walk in a dark room, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if it's an intense suspicion and mistrust, then we know there might be some mental illness there. Okay, let me see. Let me go to the chat and I'm gonna go with some descriptions of these trust issues. I don't understand why folks be stuck about their partner's past exes seriously just because they spoke to them about his or her mom. Say more about that, Phyllis. I'm trying to get what you're saying about that. A partner's, like your new partner is talking to the ex's parents. Thanks, boo. Mwah. Talk to me, Phyllis. What are you describing? I don't understand why folks be stuck about their partner's past exes seriously just because they spoke to them about his or her mom. Yeah, I need some more information, so I can get with that. So trust issues are basically challenges with intimacy and bonding, and they show up like this. Here's the list. Get ready. Here we go. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Okay, so let me go back to that before I go into the descriptions. some people have a problem. There's a school of thought that your ex is your ex and the family is your ex as well. So meaning when you break up with someone, you're supposed to break up with the family. Now, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that, especially I'll give you two reasons. If the breakup was amicable, number one, between you and the ex, I think I don't know. I think that's a little nuts to just cut people off because we're not in a relationship anymore. I think that's problematic. And then, especially if you've had children with that person and your ex's family is family to your children. How do you cut those people off? That's toxic in itself. I don't talk to you no more, so I ain't gonna talk to your family. Let's say the breakup was not amicable. Same thing. You might still get along with members of that family. Now, there might need to be boundaries put in place. Like, oh, I'm not gonna come to the family reunion because that's going to be very awkward for both people, right? You and the ex. But you still have good relationships with those family members. I don't see why you can't be social with them. And again, especially if you have children, your children should still have access to them. You're out at a restaurant and you see your ex and you ask about their mom. I don't understand. Oh no, that's just petty. That's somebody who has trust issues. Perfect story. That's somebody who has trust issues. So we're out at a restaurant. Me and Boo, we at the restaurant. You run into your ex, and your ex says, "Hey, how you doing? What's up? How you been? Good. How's your mom? She's straight. I'll tell her you asked about her." And then my guy gets upset? No. Nor vice versa. Because here's the only thing that needs to be said. Hey, that's my ex. If they don't know who they are. Hey, that's my ex. Hadn't seen him in a while, etc. If it was my guy, situation was reversed. Yeah, that was a girl I used to date. Yeah. And yeah. Now, if you have done the work, and a lot of people don't like to do this. If you've done the work and you've told people about your past, there shouldn't be any secrets. It shouldn't be any surprises. So if you're out and you run into this person, your current partner should have a pretty good idea of who that person is. If they haven't seen pictures, maybe because so much is on social media now. People know as much about your past as you do. Okay, to be honest. But let's just say they didn't know what they looked like. They may be able to pick up on that conversation. Oh, okay, that's the ex you told me about. Oh, yeah, I remember her mentioning that. Or yeah, I remember him mentioning some girl. But people have problems with that. And that's a bad sign. So if somebody is persistently jealous, and that's part of jealousy too, they're my ex for a reason. And if I wanted them back, I would have had them back. Trust and believe. You know that some people down the line, their name is thrown up. Yeah, well, I said you also got to watch who's around you. Now, here's the thing. And I will say this, again, you got to make the call. Every situation is not the same. There are some people that you may need to cut off because they won't let go and let you move on. The families either, right? Because, wow, I think you two should be together. So they'll try to sabotage your new relationship. So maybe you'll come back to them or their family member. So again, you got to make the call. Sometimes a clean break is what's best, but I just think, you know what? Good people are hard to find. And if you've met good people in your life that you get along with, why would you throw good people away? It's about having some conversations. Absolutely. So persistent jealousy, self-doubt. Watch this. I see this with men and women. You can tell people just don't feel good about themselves, have very low self-esteem. And so then they're constantly trying to get you to affirm them. It's like a bottomless hole that everybody likes compliments, right? Myself included. Okay. I love people. Oh, you have such a pretty smile. Thank you. But if I'm constantly, well, do you think I'm pretty? Why do you like me? Really? Are you just saying that? Self-doubt is so unattractive. Oh my God. And so when I run into men like that, I run. That's a red flag, purple flag. If you really feel that bad about yourself and you meet somebody who feels that way, there is very little you can do to convince them that they're okay. Cousin Jackie, I say speak. Okay, keep it moving. Yeah, then that would annoy me too. Now we're gonna sit there and start kikiing and ha-haing and think about the good times. I mean, we're gonna do all of that. Then I gotta go. Yeah, you see the ex, you say hello. I think you can be cordial, right? And keep it moving. But no, we're not gonna sit there and replay the tapes of back when we were together or exchanging compliments. You sure looking good. You still look good. Really? In front of my person? And then of course make sure you're introducing the person. Sometimes people take a little too long to bring their new partner into that conversation. That's a lot of times why people get mad too. So I shouldn't be standing there too long before you bring a, hey, this is my girl Kim. Kim, this so-and-so. Remember me telling me, oh, it's good to meet you. Yeah, it's good to see you. Okay. Yeah, we were just here having dinner, but hey, how's your mom? She's good. Tell her I said hello. It was good seeing you. Woo! And we're going where we're going. Now you want to sit there and interview her. Yeah. And I'm a pretty open-minded person, but there's such a thing called respect. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So respect. It's only messy sometimes when there are children. Yeah. Children will make it messy. Children will make it messy. All right. We're here. It's Friday Night Live with Dr. Kim, the relationship renovator. If you're just coming in, good evening. We're talking about trust issues tonight. Trust issues tonight. Please like and share. If you're watching this on the replay, I still invite you to like it and share it. Somebody needs to hear this. If you hear yourself, I got 5 ways at the end for you to get over this because you need to be better. This is 2023. If you're not booed up, we need to get you booed up. And if you're already booed up, I want you to stay booed up, which means you got to be your whole best self. We got to get you right. Okay. So jealousy, self-doubt, constant suspicion. Oh my God. That's a pet peeve. Everything you do, where you going? Why are you going there? Is that really where you're going? Why didn't you answer that call? Why you answer so fast? Why your phone down? Why your phone up? Suspicion. You late. Why were you late? Oh, the train, huh? Suspicion. Oh, you dressed different. Who you trying to look good for? Myself? Constant suspicion, I can't do it. That's another one that'll make me run real fast. Real fast. You said you gotta go. All right, okay. False accusation. Oh my gosh, that you're giving me ill intent if I do something. Oh, you're doing that because you want to go see so-and-so. What? I remember you saying that he worked near there, and I noticed that every time you go out with your friends, you're eating right where he works. That's part of that jealousy and suspicion. So false accusations. Anxiety, they're constantly nervous. Everything you do makes them nervous. Because guess what? They're replaying everything in their head. So trust issues. Avoidant behaviors. You see somebody constantly compensating for things when something goes wrong. Those are avoidant behaviors. So you have an argument. I got to drink it away. I got to eat it away. I got to spend it away. They're doing all these other things, avoiding the big problem just so they can be okay. It's because they have trust issues. Why is that a manifestation of trust issues? Because they believe if I bring this concern to you, this could mean the end of our relationship. Now, flag on the play. Remember, if you remember at the beginning, I was saying that a lot of trust issues are based on what? Lived experience. So again, if you have been in relationships like that, and I have, where anytime you talk about your feelings, it's a problem, you've learned I don't talk about my feelings. I keep it to myself and I find another way to avoid the hurt of that conversation and make sure I'm okay. Okay, so avoidance behaviors, people tiptoeing and walking on eggshells, and you may ask them, are you okay? And they'll say, I'm fine. And you know good and well that they're hurt, they're confused, something is wrong. They will not tell you. And it's not that they're not willing or they're closed, just being stubborn. I'm saying there's a reason for being closed. And it's typically because they've been hurt when they've been honest and shared their feelings. What if a man is always asking you to stroke his ego? Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. There's a difference between someone every once in a while, man or woman, asking, hey, what do you think about this? Whether it's what they're wearing, or let's just say they were speaking somewhere or made a presentation and they ask you, how did I sound? Did I sound okay? Do you think I did a good job? I think that's normal to want validation from your partner. But if it's constant and it's flipped like this is where you know it's a red flag, Jackie. I'm glad you asked. If they're constantly saying, well, I would do that, but I'm not really good at that. Opening the door for you to say, no, baby, I believe in you. You could do that. Really think I could do that? Of course you could do that. And I help you. Okay, baby, if you think so, but it seems like every time I try to get something going, it just don't work out for me. Okay, do you get the difference? So all of us have moments where we want to hear from our partner that we're good. And I put something in our group the other day. If your man is not your biggest cheerleader, get another man. Okay. And vice versa for the fellas. If your woman is not your best cheerleader, baby, bye. You rather be alone, it'd be better to be alone, or get you another girl. Plain and simple. And by being a cheerleader, if you think about cheerleaders on any team, whether it's pro or collegiate, etc., those cheerleaders are ready to cheer as soon as something happens in that person's life. The football players don't have to stop playing. Hey, did y'all just see what we did? Are you going to cheer for us? Cheerleaders are ready. So if you have a partner that's fully invested in you, they're already going to pour into you that way. But if you're something constantly begging for it, okay, I'm going to say this. Two things. Either, I said, you have a bottomless pit in your emotions because you have been hurt, you've been ignored or abandoned as a kid, or you got the wrong partner. You got the wrong partner. If you find yourself there, man, I'm always having to ask him or her to tell me something good, you might have the wrong person. You might have the wrong person. You see, I'm getting too busy with my hands over here. Took the camera off. This is crazy. So meaning that if I gotta constantly get this affirmation from you, especially if that's your love language. Like for me, that's my love language, words of affirmation. I like hearing, girl, you looking good. Okay, thank you. Baby, you're smart. Thanks, boo. I like that. That's how I receive love. But somebody constantly, everything they do, and they're down on themselves, and you got to constantly build them up. No, it's no, it's a no for me, because it never ends. And after a while, you'll lose respect for that person because you're like, oh my gosh. Somebody like that can never pour into you either because they're so empty themselves. So there's no give and take in a relationship like that. It's always you trying to save them, fix them, heal them, make sure they're okay. It's too much work, because that's somebody, like I said, who hasn't done the work, is probably not going to do the work on their own because they don't say anything wrong. Okay, let me keep going, because I said I was gonna be like the Baptist preachers tonight. I ain't gonna be before you long. I ain't gonna be here all night. It's raining, it's storming, because you saw we lost power earlier. So I want to make sure I get through everything and then get downstairs with my candle and my book. Absolutely. So no. So the answer is no. Okay. Needy. Needy is the next one. It's a whole group of needy behaviors. A whole group of needy behaviors. They gotta have constant conversation, texting, calling, emailing, social media posting. Here's a sign right here. And this is one that'll make me run. Dang, I saw you on social media, but you ain't got time to call me. Are you for real? Are you for real? You saw the green light on. And because you saw the green light on, you're upset because I haven't texted you. Or they're looking at the timestamp. It's 4 o'clock. Man, I ain't heard from you since 2 o'clock. That's back to that suspicious stuff too. Are you for real? Now, don't get me wrong again, because I am a words of affirmation girl. I do love written communication. Okay, I do love written communication. But when it's forced, right? When you feel like somebody is forcing you, or they're making you feel guilty because you haven't communicated, that's an issue. That's somebody with trust issues, because look at what they're doing. And all these needy behaviors, you're going to see that. It looks like love and attention. But what it really is I'm trying to keep tabs on you. So maybe if I hold on to you tight enough, you won't leave me, you won't cheat, and you won't ghost me. When guess what? It actually works in the reverse. Because as much as I love texting my boo in and out of the day, babe, I'm thinking about you. He doesn't respond right away, then I know he's doing something. There's something that has his attention, but eventually he's going to text back. But people like this text you, they're tapping the phone. Is my phone working? I got a signal. And then you'll get, here's the backup message. Then you double text her. You okay? Oh, God. 10, 15 minutes. Do you work? Do you have a life? You have any children, grandchildren? I just need to know. So that hyper texting, hyper calling back, it's too much. You smothering me. Needy behavior. Persistently asking for affirmations of, do you love me? Do you really love me? Baby, tell me you love me. Tell me why you love me. Oh, no. No. Difficulty making decisions alone is another manifestation, needy behavior, somebody with trust issues. Okay. What do you think I should do? Do you really think that's what I should do? Or could you just do it for me? They're angry or they're sad when you spend time with other people. Oh my God. Needy behavior. Soon as you're with your people, babe, I miss you. 15 minutes. Now, when that starts in the beginning of a relationship, people miss it because they think, oh, look at that. I just left and he missing me already. He can't get enough of me. No, he's needy. He's needy and you need to run. Okay? Soon as you're with other people. Oh, dang. I thought we were going to have some time together today. Maybe I'm just going to lunch. And then we said, we're going to go to a show. And we're going to do this later. Okay, well, if that's what you want to do. That's cool. Have a good time with your friends. Oh, baby, you really don't want me to go. You don't want me to stay hang out with you? No, baby, if that's what you want to do. I'll be here. It's cool. So then you go, and then he or she is blowing up your phone all while you're gone. So what are you gonna do after an hour or so? You tell your partners, you tell your girls, look, I'm gonna go on home, and yeah, babe lonely, babe missing me. Or after a while, because you don't want to embarrass yourself, you just, oh man, it's getting late. Oh, I just forgot to take some out the dryer, make up some kind of lie to leave. Because they don't want you with nobody else. Because they don't know what you'll do. I got trust issues. Remember, we got trust issues in here tonight. Are you all sharing this? Are you all sharing this? Because there's a lot of people living in this kind of hell right now. They need to know that they're not crazy. And then I want to get to the end and talk about the help that's available. Pessimism towards the relationship. They always think, thunderstorm warning, destructive winds, all of this. Boy, I'm telling you, it's all kinds of stuff coming through this phone. Okay? So that's why I say, I need to hurry up because they're saying you need to seek shelter. Okay? So pessimism about the relationship. They're constantly worried about you leaving me. Babe, are you happy? You ain't going to leave me, are you? No. Did I say I was going to leave? I'm just saying, it just, I don't know. It just don't seem like you may be into me like you were. Maybe what would make you say that? And they don't have any reason. They just woke up feeling like that. Because I got trust issues. They're waiting for the other shoe to drop. At some point, you're going to leave just like everybody else did. And when you have somebody like that, you can tell them every 5 minutes of the day, you can tell them what you're going to be doing every 5 to 15 minute increments of the day, and they will still wonder how you feel. Or at least tell you, I wonder. But do you really love me? Baby, I did this, I took you here, I bought you that, I said this. And you're still wondering? Well, feelings change. Woo! Yeah, it's a form of control, because think about it, Liz. If you've had trauma happen to you, that was a loss of control. Somebody violates your person, somebody violates you emotionally, physically, or sexually, you've lost control of yourself, of your mental, of your physical. So all of these needy behaviors absolutely is trying to reestablish the locus of control that you're afraid of losing. Sensitivity to criticism, you say something to them, they take it all out of context, and that gets nuts. Even when you've delivered it gently, baby, I want to share something with you. Are you okay? Because I want to tell you something. It's not a big deal. I'm not tripping, but I just wanted to share with you, like the other day, you did this, you left the gas on, or you didn't leave me enough gas in the car and I had to make another stop. Like, just next time, if you would just tell me so I would know I need to leave out a little bit earlier. See, this is what I'm talking about. I can't never do nothing right. You just always on me. It's like, now you prefaced it by coming gently and saying, I'm not mad, but I need to tell you this. And they still take it like it's the end of the world. Okay. The last one, the needy behavior, is reluctant or inability to forgive. They hold a grudge. So they got to make you pay for it. Control again, right? They got to make you pay for it. Oh, you hurt me? I ain't going to let you forget this. Maybe I'm sorry. I hurt you. I forgive you. But they're walking around and got a side eye on you all the time. Thank you, baby, for sharing. Appreciate you. So again, we have to check ourselves. And all the things I've listed, have you seen yourself in any of those? Because again, I think we've all had moments where we may have felt like this. Some of the things I've described, we may have had moments where we needed reassurance, where we maybe were like, ooh, this kind of smells like something I've experienced before. I'm not so sure. But the trust, it becomes a trust issue when you stay there, when you operate like that most of the time. Then that whole next level from neediness is codependency. And we hear that a lot, right? So there's a certain level of leaning in we want to do in a relationship, right? But codependency is when you can't make a move without your partner. It's like everything that you do is centered around your partner. So they're either, I don't trust you about anything that you do, or they're trying to overlove you so you won't leave. So when, again, they need all this approval, their self-worth depends on what you say to them. They take on, this is one. Have you ever, you all talk to me, have you ever been in a relationship where this person just does so much for you? It's a little scary. Now, not saying that you're insecure, because I know there's sometimes people who are givers have a difficult time receiving. So I'm not talking about that, but where they'll start, and you may even call it love bombing you, because they're doing way more than they should based on like where you are in the relationship. So give you an example. We just started dating and all of a sudden he's offering to pay bills for you, big bills, a car note, a mortgage. You're like, wow, we're a month in and you trying to pay husband bills. Okay, that seems a bit much. Let me take your car and get it detailed for you while you're at work. We just met. It's a bit much. I'm going to get all the floors done in your house. Get your house painted so you don't have to worry about it. I've known you for a couple months, maybe been in my house once or twice. And it's so much. So that's the beginning of a relationship. Then inside of a relationship, what that looks like is they're constantly taking on things. No, I'll do that. I'll do that. Don't worry about that. I'll do that too. And then turn around and play victim. I do everything for you. I don't ever have any time for myself. You don't care anything about me. You never do anything for me. And you're like, half the things I was doing for you, you took from me. You said you would do them. Now you're mad because I gave it to you. What do you want? I just want you to love me. I just want you to respect me. I just want you to, treat me as an equal partner. But you literally have taken on all of these things, saying that you did it in love, but then turn it around on you like, oh my God. So then the flip side of the people who won't apologize is the people who apologize for everything. And my God, I used to be that person. I'm going to over apologize so we can keep the peace. Even if I know I didn't do nothing wrong, let me just go ahead and say I'm sorry so this man won't start going off on me. Isn't that a terrible place to be? Yep. But trust issues. I don't want you to leave. So whatever I have to do, I have to diminish myself. I have to take the blame for something I didn't do, whatever I got to do to keep you, because I don't want you to run away like these other people did. That's sad. Tendency to minimize or ignore their own desires. I've seen people shut down their whole lives because I'm going to just mold myself to you. Because number one, I don't want you to leave me. And number two, I got to keep an eye on you. So I don't have any interest. I don't do anything. I also play down when I'm hurt. Oh no, I'm not hurt. I'm not sad. I'm not upset. because again, I don't want to upset the apple cart. The flip of that is somebody being overly concerned with what you do. Have you ever seen that? Babe, you don't look well. You need this, and I'm gonna cook for you. I'm gonna clean for you. I'm gonna do. Oh God, absolutely insane. What about somebody who, have you ever seen somebody change their moods when their partner's mood changes? Codependency stems from trust issues. So that's that trauma bond again too. So if you're sad, I'm sad. Hey, wow. What's wrong with you? You just seem sad. That makes me sad when you're sad. Now, on the surface, it sounds good, right? Because there should be some empathy between partners. But when you totally flip, you were good, and all of a sudden your person is sad, that's not healthy. Or maybe you're not feeling good. They're on cloud nine. Let me fake the funk and get there with them. Codependency. Codependency is a mess. Idealizing your partner. Oh my gosh. Pouring everything into them. Everything into them. Because you don't think anything of yourself. But at least if I take care of them and help them fulfill their dreams to the detriment of my own, there's again nothing wrong. And we should pour into our partners, encourage them, support them. But if you're doing that by saying what I want to do is not important, or I know if I ask them for the same assist, it won't be honored. Codependency caused by trust issues. So I'm a little bit over, so I'm gonna get into the 5 ways that you can overcome trust issues. It's challenging. It's challenging to stop, but it's not impossible. First one is to communicate. You got to be able to talk to the person that you are with. When it comes to building trust, open and effective communication is essential. So that means that person had to have at least shown you that they're trustworthy, right? And you've come to the conclusion that it's you and not them. So have a discussion. Tell them about your challenges with trust. I have a hard time trusting because this happened to me. If it is because of something that's happened within that relationship, be careful with your words. Don't start finger pointing. You did this to me. And when you do this, flip it. When this happens, I feel this way. Just talk about your feelings. Don't want to be accusatory. Even when you're talking about the past, when my ex did these particular things, I felt this way, or this makes me feel like that. It assigns ownership to your feelings rather than just blaming everybody else. And it also gives your current partner or a potential partner some idea of things that they may want to avoid, or they may want to change how they say things or how they do things because they weren't aware that that was sensitive for you. Okay, so trust is easily built when you're an active participant in the process. Trust doesn't just come because you want it. You have to create an environment where trust is cultivated, if that makes sense. And so communicating that is the first step. And that's part of building that trust. It's like, wow, that's a big thing to be able to tell somebody about the wounds that you have. It means you trust me to a certain degree. So now, if you're not sure you can trust the person, here's what I recommend. I wouldn't give them a big ticket item. So for example, let's say your trust issues may include the trauma of abuse. They may also have been exacerbated by friends who have done you wrong. maybe I would go with that friend story first and test the water and see, can they handle that? And I'm a stickler for that. I believe you give people a little rope, see what they can do with it. Trust is earned, right? I don't think you give the benefit of the doubt for trust. Trust is earned. So I'll break you off a corner here, see what you do with it. If they can handle that, and I don't hear it anywhere else, they don't throw it back in your face, now I can give you a little bit more. Thanks, cuz. I'm feeling it. Like what the Baptist preacher said, I wasn't feeling it when I got up here, but I'm feeling it now. So don't go all in. That's sometimes we hurt ourselves, right? So I'm not telling you to trust blindly, but I am telling you, in order to begin trusting again, you gotta communicate if that person is worth it. Number two, allow people a chance to change. So let's just say we've had this conversation. New partner, babe, these are my triggers. I don't have no whole laundry list, okay? But we say it really disturbs me. Or when this happens, I really feel this way. And they say, okay, honey, I hear you. Now you gotta allow them a chance to change. Allow them a chance to get it right. And say, I've heard you. Now I'm gonna make my best effort to make sure that doesn't happen again. If it happens again, here's the grace. So can we talk? Remember we had that conversation about a month or so ago, and I was telling you that when you don't call, when you're gonna be late, it makes me worry that something is wrong with you, or it reminds me of when I was ghosted before. I'm not sure if that means you're upset or you're not going to come home. Like, yeah, baby, but you didn't call, and I felt that again, and that was a lot of anxiety. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. Okay. I'd appreciate it if you work on that. Give some grace. Now, not 150 chances. What's up, BSG? Trust is number 10 on number 10 at the beginning. Your actions are what causes trust to decrease. Different schools of thought there. Different schools of thought. I believe some people operate that way, and I'm somewhat that way. I'm going to give you 100% until you give me a reason not to. Right? So just like in my classes, everybody has an A until you stop turning in assignments, or, you don't do so well on tests. But there's another school of thought, and I think particularly here, if you know that you really have suffered with this, you may want to take baby steps towards that, because I've seen people really get their hearts annihilated by trying to be that bigger person and say, I'm not going to hold it against you that this other person did it, so I'm going to just give you everything. And it ends up being too much for that person. And they may want to carry that with you. They're not able to do it. And they may have been able to do it over time. So I think, I said, using some wisdom. The other reason why I'm saying take your time with that is because sometimes we've chosen people, right, in the midst of that full-blown trauma and trust. So we may not have chosen a person, again, that can handle that and handle the reality of us. So again, I would just say, you get one chance, 0 chances, or do that again. The Bible I've read says 70 times 7. Now, in terms of forgiveness, doesn't mean that you have to, I'm gonna say a couple of things. So let me slow walk this. I don't want to so you came in here at the end, got me talking hard. But we have to forgive. 1 Corinthians 13 also tells us that love keeps no record of wrongs. So if I'm committed to you, we're committed to each other, and you're messing up, because humans do, I got to give you the grace of forgiveness. Now, if somebody is making the same mistake over and over again, that's disrespect. That's disrespect. Okay. Number two, that is how you cultivate an enduring relationship, is forgiveness. Let's try again. Let's talk about this. What parts, what's missing here that we can't get past that? And that's probably going to take me all the way down to number 5. So again, depending on the relationship. Now, work relationship, I'm not giving you 1,000 tries to crucify me. Bye. But this is somebody I'm committed to, and he's committed to me. We got to go there. We got to go there. We got to unwrap this, unpack this. And if we're doing it respectfully, and I'm seeing some progress, then I'm there in it. Now that's the 55-year-old Kim talking. 25-year-old Kim, you got me effed up. You gotta go. I'm just not. The older me, if I see some effort, I'm gonna honor that. But like I said, if you constantly going there, and I've dealt with that recently. If I'm telling you that's a pet peeve of mine, or I feel disrespected when you do that, and you've done that twice, like exactly the same way, then I'm a bounce. We got a paragraph here. Hold on, y'all. We're adults. We can't allow people to continue to do things to us that we don't like for them to do. You have to let them know when you don't like something that they're doing. Absolutely. I'm not saying not to tell them. And I'm also saying, if you see some effort towards them respecting what you've said, you give grace. If somebody is ignoring what you've asked and discussed with them, then you have to move on. Okay. All right. So we're going to communicate what we need, or maybe where our trust issues are. We're going to allow people a chance to change, but we're not going to give them 1,000 chances, right? And then give them a place to start. Like I was saying, identify one small area that you could let them in your emotions, and figure out, like I said, how they can help you deal with that a little bit at a time. So again, maybe, like I said, a low ticket item there. So finding a place for them to start, maybe not with the biggest thing, but something small. Validate what you're feeling, which is number 4. Examine your feelings. So you got to sit with yourself. Sit with yourself. Because sometimes, like I said, we're so reactionary, right? And this long list that I gave you of what trust issues look like, sometimes people got a whole laundry list. Everything sets them off. Go sit and spend some time with yourself and figure out, why are you feeling the way you're feeling? And under what circumstances do you feel that way? This probably should have been number 1, because it's very difficult to have that communication or have that conversation if you haven't identified some of these things already. It may be helpful to write these things down as the ideas are coming to you. Every time you want to go off on that person or get to crying and saying something, maybe write down, what are you feeling in that moment? My therapist, oh my gosh, I wish I could post it through a screen share, gave me this wonderful list of adjectives. And I'm kind of going to number 5 without getting there. But notice I said my therapist. I sit in a chair and listen to a lot of people's problems. I need somebody to listen to mine. I shoulder and carry a lot of responsibilities and a lot of stories. And I found that that's the support I need. But watch this. She gave me this exercise, a bunch of adjectives. And it's like, every time you're feeling some kind of way, find an adjective on this page that's connected with how you feel or describes how you feel. And then look at what category it's in And what it does is it tells you what need is not being met. Isn't that wild? And it's like, wow, and it really helped me unpack a lot of things that and how I was reacting to things at work, as well as in my relationship. But it's like, wow, when I'm feeling that, that's because I feel abandoned. That's because I feel disrespected. That's because maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I just need to go somewhere on timeout and take care of myself. Has nothing to do with the outside world. But if you think about, again, small children who were not taken care of, I'm crying, I'm crying, I'm crying. Nobody picks me up to soothe me and put me back to sleep. We've learned to kind of, or maybe people haven't learned how to manage that, how to soothe themselves, how to calm themselves down when they're overwhelmed and tired. So sometimes when we're rough around the edges and being sensitive, it could just be exhaustion. So real good exercise, write that stuff down, write it out, and then go back and read it. And it can give you some insight as to why you're feeling what you're feeling in that moment before you go and act it out and dump it out on your partner. Doesn't that sound good? Trying to de-escalate a problem instead of just, well, that's what he's there for anyway. And then the last one, of course, is my absolute favorite. And that is, before I went on, the other reason why I want you to write it out is because sometimes then it's easy to see patterns. It's easy to see patterns. And again, you see where maybe, I won't say you're the whole problem, but it starts becoming easier to see what role you play in your hurt. What are some things that you're doing over and over and over again? Is it the people that you keep choosing? Is it the situations you keep finding yourself in? Or are you having the same perspective about the same situations? If you journal over time, you will see that pattern. And then you say, you know what? I'm the common denominator in this equation. Every time this happens, I'm there. So what do I need to do differently? Is it have a conversation with myself first? Is it stop choosing losers? Okay. Is it addressing things the first time, as my friend BSG said in the chat, and not holding it in and wait until the 20th time you step on my toe and then go off? Journaling it out. I've been journaling faithfully now for 13 years. And it's amazing when those memories come up because I use an e-journal. So it'll remind me, oh, go in there and look at what you wrote on this date 5 years ago or 6 years ago. And when I look at that, sometimes it's like, wow, it has hit me in the face. You were dealing with that 6 years ago? You just said that the other day. Okay, this is not cool. Or what happens now when I read back, I'm like, whoo, girl, you was torn from the floor up. Thank God for deliverance. Thank God you have grown up. Thank God you have healed. You can see those patterns. So both good and bad. So the last one is getting some professional guidance. Sometimes it takes an external partner, somebody from the outside, to listen and give you back your words and help you realize why these things are happening, why these things are playing out, why you're reacting or acting out the way you are. Sometimes it takes that. Does not mean you're crazy. Does not mean they're going to put you in a jacket to make you hug yourself. Does not mean a lot of things. It just means, just like if your heart wasn't beating right, you would go to a cardiologist, right? If your legs or your ambulatory muscles were not operating properly, you go to an occupational therapist. Reminded me, I need to call mine about my hip. If you have problems with your teeth, you go to a dentist. Something going on with your emotions, go to a therapist. Go to a mental health professional. That's what they're there for. I'll be so glad when that stigma is finally gone, that when we are experiencing emotional trauma, we can go get help just like we do for any other part of our body. kiss the brain and get some help. So just to wrap it up, because it's about that time, if you've been told that you have trust issues, people may be referring to the patterns of distrust that they see recur in your relationship. Some of the things I described earlier: you're jealous, you're suspicious, you're needy, you hang on, you need constant validation, you don't want the person anywhere else but with you, you're smothering them. All of that is related to trust issues. In reality, if you don't have issues, right? If you don't think you have issues, you definitely probably have some. But if you don't have issues, you might be in a relationship with somebody who does. Chronic distrust can come from a traumatic incident, an unloving childhood, or experience of betrayal in other relationships. But you can't overcome these trust challenges by understanding where these feelings are coming from, communicating them to a trusted partner, and possibly seeing or consulting with a mental health professional that can guide you through the process of recovery. And I'm one of those people. As a life and relationship coach, it is my joy to talk with people or listen about their life challenges and their relationship issues. If that's something you want to do, please find me on Facebook, The Complete Suite LLC. You can book an appointment, talk about your life or your relationship stuff, and we'll help you find some ways to get where you need to be. What did I say at the beginning? I want you to get the love that you want, whether that's finding a partner or being well with your partner and keeping the love you need. That's what I'm here for. You can also find me on Instagram, Dr. Kim Complete Suite. I would love to walk this journey with you and help you with your trust issues or anything else you have going on. So that's it for tonight. If you're in the Chicago area, stay sheltered. The storm is coming back. You see, we lost power a while ago, so it's still going on out there. Windy, no wind, no wind, no rain. Yeah, it's a bunch of wind and rain out there tonight. Light, thunder, lightning, hail, we've had it all today. So please be careful and make sure to join me next week, April the 7th. April the 7th, I have a special guest with me, so I'll be putting promos out about that. We're gonna get into who benefits from marriage, men or women. Ooh, that's gonna be a good one. Who benefits from marriage, men or women? It's gonna be juicy. So I got some guys coming through to talk about this in the next couple of weeks. If there's something in particular you all want to talk about before the season is over, the season will be over May the 26th. Thank you, cousin. Good to see you tonight, sweetheart. Tell your favorite foodie I said hello. Okay, so we're gonna be out. I told you all the rest of the season is marriage. Marriage. Okay. Shout out to my unicorn angel. And good night to everybody else. See you next.